In today's episode, the GMC Tracker for 1989, which most people in the UK will know better as the Suzuki Vitara. Hello and welcome to Quarterlight, your car brochure channel, the channel that brings you car brochures from around the world for the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s. Very niche subject, I know, but if you're interested in cars, car brochures, looking back at cars gone by, then please consider subscribing. That is completely free. So anyway, today's brochure is from Canada. So let's turn over and have a look at this unusual brochure. And I say unusual really because, well, from living in the UK in the 80s and 90s, I know this better as the Suzuki Vitara, but here in Canada, it's now known as the GMC Tracker. Real badge engineering on its best, and in reality it was known by many different names and badges throughout the world actually, which when I was living in the UK I didn't know. I just quite simply knew this as the Suzuki Vitara. Kind of like the vehicle that took over from the Suzuki SJs, which were absolutely fantastic at off-roading, and if you was a small farmer, you know, going out to your sheep with a bale of hay, fantastic, far better than a quad, and obviously a lot cheaper than buying a Land Rover. But people saw them as like a fashion thing, which was a weird thing to be going on in the UK in the 80s. And then they discovered if you drove them like an absolute idiot, it probably would fall over on the first curve. So I guess this was the result of trying to keep that sort of fashionable status, not quite as good off-road as the original SJs, but a bit more stable than the Suzuki Vitaras, or in this case GMC Trackers, were probably for you. And yes, once again, sort of like a four-wheel drive vehicle from the 80s and 90s that nobody ever took off-road. Bit of a hairdresser's car we used to call them in the UK, but here, the GMC Tracker. So if you're watching from the UK, it'd be nice to see, you know, if we spot some kind of like similarities and differences from the UK spec Suzuki Vitara. Now I don't remember these with the red stripe, but unusual blue with that sort of a red stripe on there. Similar sort of idea. It's all about a bit of a image type car, I guess. Anyway, let's turn the page, have a look inside. So we get various images showing this sort of two-door soft top version. We'll start with the text there, learn a bit more about it, then we'll come back to these images. So it begins with introducing a fun new way to 4x4. The brand new 1989 Tracker is a highly manoeuvrable 4x4 thanks to a tight 86.6 inch wheelbase and short 142.5 inch overall length. It's small and nimble, yet the subcompact tractor has some nice big numbers where they count. Like these, a 1.6 litre overhead cam engine with electronic fuel injection that delivers 80 horsepower at 5400 RPM, a 5-speed manual transmission, room for 4 with more leg head room than a Jeep XJ, ample luggage space and more than 200mm of ground clearance to help keep you going when the going gets tough. It's also good to know that every Tracker is built on a rugged ladder type frame with heavy duty McPherson struts up front and coils at all 4 corners, and it's designed with a wide stance for excellent stability at higher speeds. With all this performance torque, let's not forget the Tracker shown here is a convertible. When the weather's fine, just drop the top and go. For cooler days, the Tracker convertible even has a unique sunroof designed right into the canvas top. The front section of the top folds back for a classic town car appearance. From its spunky 1.6 litre engine and 4x4 chassis designed to its sporty convertible top, there's nothing quite like the new Tracker convertible. And best of all, this go anywhere drop top is the lowest price 4x4 in the Tracker line. So images then, that looks like very similar to the front cover, doesn't it? So let's move on. Shows the white soft top here then, and I guess this is what it means by the sunroof. You can just move it back, not all the way, which is a weird thing to call it a sunroof, but anyway. And there we go, that's it with it all the way folded back. Tiny little, very thin, uncomfortable looking seats at the rear there. The small print says Tracker Convertible's unique two-position soft top is available in black or white, depending on exterior colour selection. Here's one in red, but obviously that also comes with a white top as well. Looking on pretty basic steelies there, no alloy wheels of course. And I guess the red insert came no matter what colour you chose. The small print quite simply saying Tracker Convertible, a folding canvas top, adds to the 4x4 fun. It then moves on to this model, obviously the hardtop version, but still only two-door, but let's have a look at the text for this one. Tracker hardtop features the same rugged engineering and roomy interior as the convertible, plus a steel roof overhead. That steel roof makes the hardtop a true year-round vehicle, as much fun in the snow as it is in the sand. The hardtop also gives you swing-out rear side windows. The convertible has plastic side curtains, an electric rear window defogger, interior dome lamp and full-length vinyl headliner. Thanks to its sophisticated four-wheel coil suspension, Tracker is one civilised traveller. But when the black top stops, hardtop fun is just beginning. And like every Tracker, the hardtop is equipped with P205 75R15 radial tyres with on-off road tread pattern and full-size spare. Bodyside mouldings, dual outside rear view mirrors, front bumper rub strips, front disc rear drum brakes, halogen composite type headlamps, outside mounted spare tyre, tow hooks front and rear, 2-speed transfer case and a spare tyre cover. And there it is. I guess this sort of thing is what eventually became, you know, the modern SUV. People really like these. There was sort of like that sort of image of this vehicle, although in reality, like I say, most people never took them off-road, therefore steel chassis and 4x4s, you know, lessened. It became less and less of an off-road vehicle and more of an on-road vehicle, but still having that look, I guess. Strange thing, really. The text here tells us Tracker hardtop is the all-weather off-roader that's equally at home in the city. And then one in blue, looks like this has got some extras on there, some much nicer looking sort of like chromed wheels and even sort of white lettered tyres for that very much 80s look. Because this is the Tracker SLE. Adding SLE equipment gives Tracker hardtop an even dressier appearance. And then we turn the page and I guess this is more sort of like the features and sort of interior pics of the Tracker. So let's have a look at the text first. With all the fun Tracker provides in a compact package, you'll be pleasantly surprised to learn that Tracker offers more interior room and luggage space than a Mercedes-Benz 190 sedan. A strange vehicle to compare it with. In addition to standard cloth vinyl reclining front bucket seats with integral head restraints and a fold and flip rear bench seat, Tracker interior features include analog instrumentation with tachometer, temperature gauge and trip odometer, heavy duty heater defroster with 4-speed fan and side window defogger, over 877 litres, 31 cubic foot of luggage space with the rear seat stowed forward, as well as stowage trays, lockable glove box and 3 assist grips, colour keyed floor mats, front and rear, fully carpeted floor covering. And there's a little bit of a look at the inside, quite a plasticky interior, although I quite like those seats, I must admit. And then another interior picture, different seat on this one though, this sort of red facing. Not much I can say about it, apart from the head restraints look extremely hard. And of course we've got crank windows. Gear lever looks very high up actually too, doesn't it? Quite a plasticky interior overall though. So this interior is actually for the higher model, the SLE. Tracker SLE interiors prove that sporty style and rugged design can be complementary. Tracker features. Among Tracker's many standard features are things you might expect to find, such as a 5-speed transmission, things you might not expect to find, such as an analog gauge package with tachometer, and things you won't find on any other four-wheel drive vehicle, such as the convertible's canvas top with integral sunroof, features shown below, spare tyre cover, rear window wiper washer on the SLE, rear window defogger on the hardtop, side opening rear door, console with 5-speed manual transmission, windshield wiper washer control, reclining front bucket seats, headlamp control, side window defoggers, AM FM stereo radio with cassette, SLE. Then we get a couple of these tiny little images showing you how the spare wheel cover is, quite simply saying Tracker 4x4, and how much room there is in the back there. I guess because it's quite a funny shaped boot, but I think overall cubic feet of space, as it were, is quite high just because of this strange shape, but in reality isn't really that much space in there. I must admit, I always did like the rear tail lights as they kind of like tailed round, and we've also got these colour coordinated bumpers, which I guess is very trendy for the time. A look at the sort of, what is that, light switch and ventilation. This is some of the gauges and how it looks. Wiper switches, and yes, we can move the seat, and our in-car entertainment. Obviously there is some a higher spec version, which is the SLE. That gives us, so it says adding equipment gives Tracker an even dressier appearance. SLE equipment includes white lettered on off-road tyres, AM FM stereo radio with cassette and 4 speakers, a fold and flip rear seats with recline feature, full carpeting including cargo area, fully reclining high back front bucket seats with see-through adjustable head restraints, custom cloth seat in grey trim with blended red, orange, yellow centre, moulded acoustical headliner, intermittent windshield wipers, rear window wiper washer, hardtop only, available on the SLE only, or an automatic transmission and air conditioning with tinted glass. So that's the SLE interior with the automatic transmission. And on the back page looks like we've got a few specifications, so let's look at that. So it starts with the exterior colours. Looks like we've just got 4. We can have white with a black convertible top, red with a white convertible top, and if I just move the camera over, grey with a black convertible top, and blue with a white convertible top. So this section here then is just dimensions, so I'm not going to go through all that, but if anyone asks a question, of course I can give you that info. So engines, or power teams as it calls it in this brochure, which we have touched on. So it's telling us it's a 1.6 litre engine, 97 cubic inch, SOHC, 4 with electronic fuel injection, max horsepower 80 at 5400 RPM, max torque 94 at 3000 RPM. We get a 5-speed manual transmission as standard, auto transmission available on the SLE hardtop. So available options then, we can have a convertible and a hardtop, AM FM stereo with cassette player, and then SLE hardtop with automatic transmission, air conditioning and tinted glass, available with automatic transmission only. Dealer accessories, a block heater, which is something, well, it's standard on all cars now in Canada. It'd be unusual not to have one, particularly here in Manitoba. Trailer hitch, wiring harness, front skid plates and transfer case skid plate. A little bit about corrosion then. We've got a 6-year, 160,000 kilometre corrosion perforation, limited warranty. A lot of these cars came with these crazy, it seems quite a long time, particularly in some more places like Manitoba, 6 years anti-corrosion, but really you had to be going back to your dealer all the time for them to be looking at it. So I think you soon voided that warranty, to be honest with you. I don't know whoever actually won anything on that. And then we've got GM leasing, which you can lease this car, which is an unusual choice for the time period. You get a GM 3-year, 80,000 kilometre new vehicle warranty. And the usual brochure thing actually, where it's talking about, you know, we can change things at any time, etc, etc. Right at the bottom here, just proves that it is a Canadian brochure, this, so printed in Canada. So there we go, the wonderful GMC Tracker. Do you remember these? Did you own one? How did you get on? And of course, how do you get on with the same thing in other countries? Thinking Suzuki Vitara. But thank you so much for watching today. Always happy to have you. And of course, for the regulars, thank you so much for always watching and commenting. I really do appreciate it. But we'll end, as we always do, by saying, please do consider subscribing. It is all completely free. Always will be free to be a subscriber, so don't worry about hitting that button. Subscribe to the channel really shows me that people want to watch this stuff, and you know, gives me a boost to keep on going. Obviously, we're a niche subject, so we're not growing as much as many other channels, but that's okay. I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing because there are people who love this sort of stuff. And if you do, like I say, please do subscribe, because it does show me that people do enjoy this. But thanks so much for watching. Please do take care. I'm going to throw a couple more boxes there if you do want to carry on viewing. But like I say, thank you so much for watching. Please do take care. We'll see you again next time. All the best and goodbye.